Good morning and aloha. Thank you very much for watching this YouTube channel. I'd like to start Sunday service with recitation of Nenbutsu 10 times. 如来大慈悲愛民5年同生10年南無 Once again, and aloha. Good morning. It's already May 3rd. I cannot believe it. It's already May, and thank you very much for staying home and to watch this YouTube channel. Needless to say, life is so precious and so valuable, and I don't want to waste your time. And I really appreciate you chose to watch this channel. That means that you spend time for us. So I really appreciate, and so I want to have this time very meaningful and educational and inspiring. And so, however, I always think my Dharma talk should be shorter. The shorter the better, because if I can transmit my Dharma talk, the idea of Buddhism in a short time with less words, that would be excellent, so that you can spend time for another things. Right? And so that actually based on Japanese culture, like short poem called haiku. Haiku is read, made by only 17 characters, 575. And then also we have a short poem called tanka that was expressed by 31 characters. And only 17 characters we express this reality. And then a short poem is only 31 characters. We do express the reality. And that is, I think, amazing. And I want to wish, the shorter one is better. And so, recently, surprisingly, Pentagon released 3 videos of UFO. I was very surprised to watch it. It was taken in 2004 and 2015. 3 different movies came out from Pentagon. It was actually leaked before, but now officially they approve that they admit the UFO, the existence of UFO, an unidentified object, flying object. Yeah. So this is very interesting because we never met the alien, but in the movie, we always imagine alien as like high advanced creature, right? High advanced creature. And how do they communicate, alien, between human and alien? Is in many movies, they describe like communication by not by words, but they directly speak to the mind. So this is we think the more words we spend, the more we can understand it. But the high advanced technology is actually the less words. The less words and the more communication is actually great. So although we never met alien, we just imagine alien is because such a high advanced creature and technology, they can communicate with no words. They communicate directly to the mind. So I think we also have a Japanese word, ishin denshin, not words, by heart we transmit. So this is kind of ideal if I can transmit Buddhism, not by words, by heart. But I try to speak less, spend less time for Dhamma talk. So I actually talk too much. Today I try to talk maybe about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Anyway, recently I joined in the 24-hour Nenbutsu relay. That has actually started in Hawaii about 11 years ago. I remember the first Nenbutsu 24 hours very well, very impressive and very shocking. That was happened in 2009. At that time, we used Skype as a tool. and then each other we connect Skype and do the Nenbutsu same time together in Tokyo and other areas. And first time I didn't actually have much preparation, and I actually started Nenbutsu without much preparation. But I asked my son, if 1 hour pass, come to and to let me know 1 hour pass, so that I know 1 hour already passed. So I actually expect my son to do this, and I started Nenbutsu. And at the time, because I didn't have any watch or clock, so I didn't have time. When I started Nenbutsu without having watch, 5 minutes, only 5 minutes, seemed to be very long time. And I actually lost a sense of time passing because of no time. And the repetition of Nenbutsu, it's a simple repetition. Namu Amidabu, Namu Amidabu, Namu Amidabu, right? And this is like you don't go forward, you don't walk forward, but you stay over here and repeating the same action. And because you don't go forward, we always like time has stopped, as a feeling of time stop. So if you do 1 hour Nenbutsu without watch, you will easily understand 5 minutes, 10 minutes is much, much longer because of the repetition of the same simple word. And this is like walking without moving, just stepping over here. And so I felt, wow, 1 hour seemed to be a long time, maybe like eternity. I wonder whether 1 hour come or not, I'm not sure. So I started. And then because I don't have any watch, I started Nenbutsu, and I think I'm pretty sure 1 hour, may pass, but my son never come and never show up and to tell me, that 1 hour passed. And so I actually continued, and and I started Namu Amida, Namu Amida, Namu. I think 1 hour, must be passed, but my son never come yet. Because I don't know, how long the 1 hour is. At the time, by reciting just Nenbutsu, I completely lost the sense of time passing and Namu Amida Nam. Yes, and then as time passed by and I do more Nenbutsu, I'm pretty sure 1 hour have passed. How come my son doesn't come? He didn't come. And so, Namu Amida Namu Amida, and because our house is maybe about 20 feet, and so I started to say Nenbutsu loud, Namu Amida Namu, so that he might notice and come here. But he never come up. So I continued, but still I continued. Maybe 1 hour, not yet passing. So Namu Amida Namu Amida. But as I get tired, my body get tired, this is something wrong. 1 hour already must pass. And so I turned to the camera and watched the time. Oh my goodness. 3 hours and 30 minutes have passed. 3 hours and 30 minutes passed. And I turned the camera off. And I called my son. Yeah, how come you didn't tell me? I have to admit, I was very upset. How come you didn't come to tell me? But this experience made me experience that. Made me think, Nenbutsu is supposed to be for myself, not for my son, not for members. Nenbutsu is for myself, the practice for myself. And how come I became hungry? And so Nenbutsu is, every time I say Nenbutsu, this is for my practice. And I think it's very good to do Nenbutsu for 1 hour, at least 1 hour is very important, because every day is so hectic and so busy. And we need to have time for certain time to concentrate to the Nenbutsu. And we really realize time is so precious. 1 minute is such a long time, and such valuable thing by doing Nenbutsu. And of course, we do maybe from time to time to recite havas in addition to the special, everyday life Nenbutsu. To set a time, a fixed time to do Nenbutsu is very important. In Jodoshu, we have 3 types of Nenbutsu. We call Sanshu-gyogi. In 3 kinds of Nenbutsu. One is called Jinjo-gyogi. Jinjo-gyogi is like, in other words, is Heisei Nenbutsu. Heisei Nenbutsu is everyday Nenbutsu. So morning, evening, we recite Nenbutsu Namu Amida. We do Otsutome Nenbutsu included. We do Nenbutsu. That we call everyday Nenbutsu. It's Jinjo-gyogi. And another type of Nenbutsu is Rinju-gyogi. And when it's Rinju means near death. So as we get closer to the death, we do recite Nenbutsu, wishing us to be born in Amida Buddha's place. So that's called Rinju Gyogi. And Honen Shonin said, understanding that Heisei Nenbutsu or everyday Nenbutsu is very important, utmost important, because every day can be anytime near death. So if you do keep reciting Nenbutsu, eventually this day may be the last day or maybe near death. So every day is a basic practice. And then number 3rd practice is called Betsuji Nenbutsu. It's like a special occasion, special Nenbutsu, Betsuji Nenbutsu. And then Honen Shonin explained like occasionally from time to time we should do this special Nenbutsu, because every day we are so accustomed to the routine, and by reciting Nenbutsu without mindfulness, we can always forget about the importance of Nenbutsu itself, the meaning of Nenbutsu itself. So from time to time, in order to be mindful of the blessing of the Buddha, we should have a certain time, take time to do Nenbutsu. And here is a teaching of Honen Shonin, translated by Mrs. Horichi Sensei and then Bishop Atone in Los Angeles. Thank you very much. It's called Gohogo in Japanese. And Gohogo translation, chapter 24, Honen Shonin, words about special Nenbutsu retreat. Occasionally, it is important to perform a special Nenbutsu retreat for a fixed period of time for self-validation and to nurture one's mind and body. To repeat the name of Buddha Amitabha 60 or 70,000 times every day would suffice. However, our minds tend to be remiss in our efforts because our eyes and ears become accustomed to the mundane. Our minds become restless due to daily activity, pressing us from morning to night, and we become inattentive towards the practice of Nenbutsu. In order to reinforce our spirit, we should often observe the special practice of Nenbutsu for a fixed period of time. For this reason, Master Shantao, in his benevolence, encouraged us to observe the practice, and also the eminent monk Ichie expounded on the procedure in detail. The Nenbutsu hall should be prepared as immaculately as possible with offerings of flowers and incense. The practitioner should purify his body before entering the hall, and the Nenbutsu is to be repeated during 3 periods in a day, morning, midday, and sunset, or 6 periods in a day, sunset, early evening, the beginning of night, the end of night, morning, and midday. If there are many devotees of the same practice, they may take turns in entering the hall, making certain that Nenbutsu recitation continues without interruption. This practice should be observed as occasion dictates. So 24-hour Nenbutsu is like we do Nenbutsu by time. And so by having a special time, at least 1 hour, we can be mindful of what is Nenbutsu again. If we do every day same thing, every day routine, doing same again and again, we actually so accustomed to do it, and we are like machine, like automatic can do it, right? So in the beginning of when you play piano, you should be very mindful, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, But as you get used to, it, and then I actually can play the piano without anything, like automatically you can play it. So once in a while, we should be return to the beginner's mind and to mindful of the blessing of Amida Buddha. That is the meaning of special Nenbutsu. And anyway, whenever I do special Nenbutsu or Betsuji Nenbutsu, I try to do more, at least 2 or 3 hours, at a time. And the reason why I do try more is because by having a higher goal, make us easily go close to the goal. So this is like if your goal is 1 hour, and if you do 1 hour, is you actually 1 hour is 100% you have to spend energy, right? Because your goal is 1 hour, and if you do 1 hour, is 1 hour is everything for you. However, if your goal is 2 hours, then and you do 1 hour, the percentage of 1 hour is actually 1 in 2, 50%. And then if your goal is to recite the Nenbutsu for 3 hours, and the rate of 1 hour is 1 in 3, 1/3. So that means that although 1 hour is same, however, 1 hour is actually compared. Whether it's long, 1 hour is long or short, it's just a comparison. So as compared to 3 hours, 1 hour is just 1/3, 1 in 3, only 30%, right? And if your goal 2 hours is at 1 hour, percentage of 1 hour is 50%, just 50%. So that is a very reason. If you have a higher goal, you can easily cross 1 hour. You get closer to the goal. So that was actually my favorite teaching of Honen Shorin. It's like 一条の堀。一条の堀を越えんと思わば、一条五尺を越えんと励むべし。is our master's word. If you wish to jump over ditch, there is a ditch about 10 feet wide. 10 feet is actually pretty much long, but it's an example. Yeah? So 10-foot long ditch. And if you want to jump over 10-foot ditch or moat, then you should work hard. You should make effort to get close 15 feet. 15 feet. Right? So that we can maybe cannot jump over the 10 feet close, but having a higher goal, we can always get closer to the goal. So that's why my goal of special Nenbutsu is much higher, 2 hours, 3 hours. Then I think two days ago, I did about 2 hours, and easily to 2 hours, because I had higher goal. And also, usually, even I said 2 hours and 2 hours, same thing. It's easy actually to do service for 1 hour, 2 hours, because you can read different sutras and different things easily to pass 1 hour, 2 hours. But if you do a very simple action for 1 hour, 2 hours, actually very difficult, very difficult. And you must feel such a long time But that is a good practice to be mindful. So anyway, having a higher goal, we can do more. So I had, okay, I do today 3 hours. Then I was easily to go to the 2 hours. So another reason is another reason. The other day, 2 years, 2 hours have passed so fast is because I fell asleep. I fell asleep. No, but oh my goodness! And then oh my goodness! I fell asleep just a second, maybe only short time. Fell asleep and I woke up. Then I restarted Nenbutsu because 2 hours so long and then doing the same thing make us sleep. And then after watching, and after finishing the Nenbutsu, I watch my YouTube and then whether I sleep or not, and then it was okay. You cannot tell, but for sure, I became a very meditative state, what I call meditative state, because I repeat Namah. So I forget completely myself, and I forget completely about the time, and easily do the Nenbutsu. So this is another issue. And then very important, when I wake up, when I wake up, I have a feeling after falling asleep, I wake up is a great moment. So that means that awakening or enlightenment, you need to fall asleep. Without falling asleep, you cannot go to the enlightenment. You cannot wake up, right? The wake up means that you go fall asleep. And falling asleep means that you have all kinds of mistakes, badness, sometimes miserable things, disasters. And but because of that hardship, and we can wake up, we can go forward to the enlightenment. So I think, sorry, I talked too much, and then I supposed to talk about Honzei-ge, but I'll do next Sunday, Mother's Day. Okay, thank you very much. Let's start the service. Okay, today, page 4. Kikyomon. Reverence to the three refuges. Hard it is to be born into human life. Now we are living in. Difficult it is to hear the teachings of the Buddha. Now we hear them. If we do not gain emancipation in this present life, we may not cross the ocean of life and death. Let us then reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. I go to the Buddha for guidance. May I, with all others, awaken to the great path that leads us to enlightenment. I go to the Dharma for guidance. May I, with all others, be submerged in the depths of the teachings and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I go to the Sangha for guidance. May I, with all others, live in harmony and live in accord with the spirit of our community in all ways. Hard it is to receive such excellent and profound teachings. Now we hear and receive them. Let us strive to understand the true meaning of Tathagata. Page 5, Vandana Ti-Sarana. Shuka Tsukikage, page 6. Page 8, Golden Chain. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that what I do now depends my happiness or misery. May every link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love become strong and bright. May we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida. Eightfold Path. The Buddha teaches us that we may become pure and holy by following the rules he laid down for us. Let us repeat them and also remember at all times what they mean. First, right understanding. Let us learn and try to understand the truth. Second, right purpose. Let us try always to do what is right. Third, right speech. Let us be truthful and kind in all we say. Fourth, right conduct. Let us try to behave ourselves at all times. Fifth, right livelihood. Let us earn our living in a way which will not harm anyone. Sixth, right endeavor. Let us constantly try to become better. Seventh, right thought. Let us cherish our thoughts because our words and our actions arise from our thoughts. Eighth, right meditation. Let us think often of Amida Buddha and repeat the sacred name, Namu Amida Butsu. May the sacred presence of Amida, who said he would abide in his teaching, be our guide. May we follow his glorious example and tread with unfaltering step this noble path until we too shall attain enlightenment. Namu Amida Butsu. Okay. Sorry, I make a mistake. Page 14. We reverently call upon Amida Buddha, the world-honored one, to enter this sacred place. We reverently call upon Shuka Tsukikage, the enlightened one, to enter this sacred place. We reverently call upon the Tathagatas of the 10 directions to enter this sacred place. Nashaku shozo shoyakumon kanyu tonjinchi jushin oishi shosho The harmful actions I have done in the past are all derived from my inherent greed, anger, and delusion. Born of my conduct, words, and thoughts, I now repent them all. Junen. Namu Amida Bu, 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 Amida, Namu Amida Bu, Namu Amida Bu. Kaikyo-ge. Mujo jinji mimyoko yakusen mangonan sonu gakon kenmon tokujiji The unsurpassed, profound, and wondrous Dharma even after 100,000 million eons, is difficult to encounter. We now hear, receive, and uphold it. May we understand the true message of the Tathagata. Page 42, Shinjin kanmon. The visualization of Amida Buddha. The Buddha said to Ananda and Vaidehi, when these perceptions are achieved, you should next visualize the physical attributes and radiant light of Buddha of immeasurable life Amida use. Ananda, you should know that the body of Amida use Buddha is as glorious as 100,000 million pieces of gold in the jungle river of Yama heaven. His height, 60 trillion miles, is as countless as the sands of the Ganges. The white tuft of hair between his eyebrows, carrying to the right, is like 5 Mount Smells. The Buddha's eyes, like the waters of the 4 great oceans, their blue and white are distinct. Every pore of his body radiates bright light like Mount Smell. The Buddha's aurora is as expansive as 10 billion of the 3,000 great thousand waters, and within this round aura are hundreds of thousands of millions, as countless as the sons of the Ganges of transformation Buddhas. Each of these Buddha manifestations also has an assembly of countless manifestations of Buddha Bodhisattvas as attendants. The Buddha of infinite life, Amida use, has 84,000 major marks. Each of these attributes also has 84,000 minor marks of excellence. And each of these also has 84,000 rays of light. Each ray universally shines upon the realm in the 10 directions, embracing and never forsaking all living beings, calling Amida Buddha's name. This light, physical attributes, marks, and transformation Buddhas cannot be fully explained. Only through deep contemplation can you see them in the mind's eyes. If you experience this, you will see all the Buddhas of the 10 directions. This ability to see all the Buddhas is called Nenbutsu Samadhi. Forming this visualization is called the visualization of the bodies of all the Buddhas. By envisioning the Buddha's body, we also see the Buddha's mind. The Buddha mind is great compassion itself, embracing all beings with unconditional compassion. Those who practice this visualization discard their bodies for the other world, shall be born before all the Buddhas and realize the insight of non-arising. For this reason, the wise one direct their souls to clearly envision Amida use, the Buddha of immeasurable light. To visualize the Buddha of immeasurable light, begin with one attribute and mark. First, simply visualize the white tuft of hair between his eyebrows until it appears perfectly clear. When you see the white tuft of hair between his eyebrows, the 84,000 attributes and marks will naturally appear. As you see the Buddha of immeasurable light, you will also see the innumerable Buddhas of the 10 directions. Having gained the vision of innumerable Buddhas, with all the Buddhas before you, you will receive the prediction of your future enlightenment. This complete visualization of all the physical features of the Buddha's body, called the ninth visualization. To practice in this way is called right visualization. Any other practice is called unorthodox visualization. Honzei-ge, page 23. Amida Buddha's original vows as essential key to the ultimate bliss. May this merit be transferred equally to enable us to immediately attain birth in the pure. Junen. Namu Amida Bu, 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 Amida. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Bu. Page 54, 54, Ichimai Kishomon. In Japanese. 寿司日を山って拝読したて祭る宗祖大師法然上人ご遺君一枚気象門もろこし我が町にもろもろの記者たちのさたしもさる観念の恵みもあらずまた学問のして天の心悟りて申す念仏にもあらずただ往生極楽のためには南無阿弥陀仏と申して疑いなく往生するぞと思い取りて申す他には別の司祭そうらわずただし三時四種と申すことの僧侶は皆欠如して南無阿弥陀仏にて往生するぞと思ううちにこもり僧侶なりこの他によく鍵ごとを存ぜば二尊の割れ火にあずれ本願に漏れ候べし念仏を親善人はたとえ一代の法をよくよく隠すとも一文うちのうどんの身になして天入道の無知の友柄に同じして社の振る舞いをせずしてただ一向に念仏すべし生のために良心をもってす浄土宗の安心企業この一子に至極せり元空が所存この他に全く別義を存ぜず滅後の邪義を世願がたびに所存を印をあんぬ建略2年正月23日大師月ご飯Page 52, 52, English. Our founder, Master Honen's parting message, the One Sheet Testament. Many Buddhist masters and scholars in China and Japan have understood Nenbutsu as a contemplation of Amida Buddha and the Pure Land. However, I understand it differently. The recitation of the Nenbutsu does not come from studying and understanding its meaning. To be born in Amida Buddha's Pure Land, we need only to say Namu Amida Butsu and believe without a doubt that we will attain birth there. Resolutely reciting the Nenbutsu and believing in birth in the Pure Land naturally give rise to the three minds and the whole mode of practice. Should I withhold any deeper wisdom beyond the Nenbutsu, may I then lose sight of the compassion of Shakyamuni and Amida Buddha and slip through the embrace of Amida's original vow. Those of you who put your trust in the Nenbutsu, even if you thoroughly study the teachings that Shakyamuni taught during his lifetime, you should become like unlettered, ignorant one or untrained devotee and not show any pretense of a learned person, but intently practice the Nenbutsu. I hereby seal this document with the imprint of both my hands. The peaceful mind and practice of Jodo are fully imparted here on this one sheet. I, Genku, have no other teaching than this. To prevent any misinterpretations after my passing away, I made this final testament, transcribed on the 23rd day of the first month of Kenjaku Seki. Page 24, Shoyakumon. The infinite light of Amida Buddha illuminates the 10 directions of the world, and all who call upon his name shall be received and never abandoned. Page 62, Dedication of Merit. I revere the King of the Great Compassionate Vows, Amida Buddha, the dispatcher and founder of the teaching Shakyamuni Buddha, all the Buddhas, as many as the sons of the Ganges in the 6 directions, kanmon, seishi, all the great bodhisattvas, the world assembly of ultimate bliss, the beings of the pure and great oceans, and the 3 treasures and great compassion. May there be harmony below the heavens, with the sun and the moon shining brightly. May the wind and rain be timely, and disasters and calamity not arise. May nations be bountiful, people safe, and armies and weapons not to be used. Let us revere virtue and humanity, and cultivate respect and humility. Our High Patriarch Komyon, the Great Master Shandao, our founder, the Great Master Enko Tozen Wejo Kokaku Jikyo Meisho Wajun Ho Nidashi Honen Shonin. The Second Patriarch, National Teacher Daisho Shoju Shoko Shonin. The Third Patriarch, the Recording and Meditation Master Kishu Ryochu Shonin. The right of transmitting the pure land of the 3 countries, and all the great patriarchs by realizing the compassionate blessings. The founding master of our temples, the restorers, and all the priests who serve Jodo temples in Hawaii, with a prudent practice, will achieve perfect enlightenment. My prayers to my teachers and minister to my father and mother, to all the temple members, donors, and all living beings with whom I have karmic connections. May all those who are living experience joy, prosperity, and longevity without limit. May those who have died escape from suffering and transcend to be born into the pure. We pray for the peace and stability of our temple and for complete affinity with the past. May we be completely free of hindrances and cultivate our practice of the Buddhist path. Since the founding of this temple, to all the members, the daily and monthly memorial tablets, the recently deceased, those in the intermediate stage of existence, and to all spirits, may we cultivate virtues so that they may be enlightened. We bow hereon with the virtues accumulated from this place of practice to transfer our merit to our beloved ones for their happiness and achievement of enlightenment. 戦士病物を難をし三害万霊無縁無縁ないし崩壊平等利益 Page 26観にしくどく世の聖祭道中菩提心 We aspire for these merits and virtues to be equally bestowed upon all. And may we together develop the aspiration for enlightenment to achieve birth in the pure land of peace and bliss. Tosho Junen Namu Amida Be 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 Namu Amida Namu Amida Betsueko Namu Amida Be Page 27, Sange-ge. English. However innumerable sentient beings are, I honestly vow to enlighten them all. However inexhaustible delusions are, I honestly vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Buddha's teachings are, I honestly vow to comprehend them all. However incomparable enlightenment is, I honestly vow to attain it by all means. I sincerely wish to share the blessing with all beings. Together we are born into the pure land of ultimate bliss to achieve the way of the Buddha. Sanshorai. No. Maybe now call upon all the Buddhas to return to their lands. We offer incense and flowers in appreciation to send them home. We ask for your compassionate guidance and protection. May those who have gone before us to encourage us to attain birth in the pure. Junen. Okay, page 7, Nenbutsu. Benediction. Amida Buddha surrounds all men and all forms of life with infinite love and compassion. Particularly does he send forth loving souls to those in suffering and sorrow, to those in doubt and ignorance, to those who are striving to attain truth, and to those whose feet are standing close to the great change called death. Amida Buddha sends forth oceans of wisdom, mercy, and love. Namu Amida Butsu. Maya-san, konnichiwa. Ohayou gozaimasu. Thank you very much. So, I have a clock over here, so I know what time. That's very important. By the way, I used to have a watch, but since I think 2005, or I think about 2004, I don't have any watch because I have cell phone. No, I'm just kidding. Why I don't have watch is because I can tell what time by looking at the sun. Because since 2005, sorry, 2004. I think 2004, 2005, I started enjoying gardening and yard work. And so I mostly spend time outside, and by doing this, and I also enjoy photography. And so sunset time, morning, I go everywhere to take photos. And by looking at the sun, always looking at the sun, I finally can tell time about, and without, so I'm very time-free man, time-free minister, because I don't need it. I can tell by looking at the sun. But of course, I cannot tell precise exact time just by looking. I have to exact time to check my cell phone. But one time when I go to Japan, that I need some kind of cell phone or time, because Japan time is always precise, exact, and then, oh, it's about now 2:30, and then about 2:30 the train departs, and I might miss the train. So I need always exact time when I go to Japan. But over here, I don't need it, and I only see from time to time. And then yesterday, actually, our president came to the temple to start the mission, and me and him together spent all day long. And then I actually really appreciate our president. He never says, he did for the temple. He just naturally come to spend time for the temple and do so much. And he's an engineer. He was a retired engineer, so he can do many things like fixing, lamon, house, plumber. He can do anything. And he actually naturally came to the temple and to do the yard, and then we did yard working all day long. And I forgot the time, but I can watch it, look at the time. Anyway, I really appreciate his help. So no time, but important when I do Nenbutsu to take a look at the time. Anyway, I talked about haiku. Haiku is 17 characters. By 17 characters, we express this reality. And then I like Yosabuson or Yosanobuson. And Yosanobuson is actually is the same time about Matsuo Basho. Matsuo Basho is very famous, and his collection of haiku called Oku no Hosomichi. And Matsuo Basho was able to travel all over Japan, and from different places, looking at the beautiful scenery, and he kind of was amazed, and he left the haiku poem, short poem, and then 17 words. And on the other hand, same time, Yosabuson, he wished to travel all over Japan, but he was not able to travel all over Japan, just like Matsuo Basho. Matsuo Basho was able to go around, but he didn't, he couldn't because of his life. He is known as a painter and also later haiku poet. But Yosabuson's haiku is very impressive, and he also is a Nenbutsu follower, so he left some very impressive poem relating to the Nenbutsu. And one of his my favorite poem made by Yosabuson is 門をいずれば我も行く人秋の暮れ。So 門をいずれば我も行く人秋の暮れ。門をいずれば我も後人。後人 is a traveler. 秋の暮れ。So this is very I love this song. I love this poem because he couldn't go travel all over Japan, but he has a feeling every time he stepped out of the gate, he can be a traveler. In front of him, the nature you can see. So he felt, even though he couldn't go far to travel, but he has he see whenever he go out of the gate, he go out of the house, he can always be a traveler and to enjoy. And then he found beautiful scenery during autumn. So luckily or fortunately, we all live in Kauai, beautiful island, and it's very grateful that no need to go out far, but always beauty is over here, stay over here. So anyway, thank you very much. Next service, live streaming is May 10th, Mother's Day. And May 10th, sermon is very interesting. Today is not maybe interesting, not so interesting, but next week is very interesting. So please continue to watch it. Thank you very much. Yeah. 如来大慈悲愛民5年同生10年ナムアミダブナムアミダブナムアミダブナムアミダブナムアミダブナムアミダブナムアミダブナムアミダブです。すいません。ありがとうございました。Thank you very much. Have a safe Sunday.